Okay, so talk to me a little bit about what made you decide to pursue this as a career, bullfighting.
I mean, it basically is just, I think it was a God-given deal. I think this is what I was meant to do and meant to be. Uh, from the time I was a little bitty kid, that's what I was pretty much had my goals and my sights were set on was going to the local rodeos and seeing all the bullfighters and the barrelmen and the rodeo clowns. And I mean, that's what I was going to do. There's no question when or how. Like that's what I was gonna do. And from the time I was a little bitty baby, I was trying to paint my face as like a rodeo clown and wearing the baggy pants. So it was just something that I was gonna do from the word go.
So when did it officially start?
Officially, like I rode some sheep and some calves and steers and different things. But when I was about 10 years old is when the bullfighting, like I knew that's what I wanted to do, where I wanted to be. And, luckily for me, I had a really awesome avenue. My grandpa had an arena there at his place. And so, like, at a very young age, I could get in with bulls that were kind of, low level bulls. It was, a weekly practice for everybody that was around. So, I was very fortunate to have the opportunity to get to be exposed to it, but in a pretty controlled manner. And then from 10, you know, before I knew it, I was 11, 12 years old. I was traveling all over Oklahoma, Texas, and Kansas, going to all like the national Oklahoma high school and junior high rodeos. And then from there on, I just started climbing a ladder. By the time I was 15, I was flying to North Carolina, going to Ultimate Bullfighters, freestyle bullfights competitions. And then from 15 on from there, it was just like pouring gas on a fire. It exploded. Turning 18, I ended up getting my Professional Rodeo Cowboys Association membership, also with Professional Bull Riders, which is the PBR, which is the two premier leagues of the sport. And then next thing I know, I was traveling all over the country, and uh, it wasn't very long; it was just a few short years, and I was selected to be at the Thomas and Mack Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada, for the National Finals Rodeo at the age of 21. So it really exploded and went fast, but we've been kicking down the doors and we haven't looked back since.
I love that. So let's rewind a little bit to when you were 10 years old. I mean, it looks scary with you as an adult now doing it because the bull is angrier than that bull has ever been once the cowboy comes off. So when you were 10 years old, how scary was it?
There was fear there. There's no doubt. There's still fear there today. But, like to me then, I thought I was grown and doing the job. I would get the bull riding magazines and just call every bull riding that was around Oklahoma and Texas and ask them if they needed a bullfighter. And then a lot of times I'd show up and they'd be like, dude, you can't fight bulls. You're way too young for this. But it was just something looking back now, looking at the film, looking at the pictures, man, I don't know what my mom was thinking, but thank God she let me keep on rocking and rolling with it because it's literally been everything I wanted to do. I've got to chase my dreams and give everything I got for it.
That's so great. And then tell me about how your friendship with Cody Johnson started. I mean, I know his backstory from, living in Texas and his, coming up in the rodeo and wanting to be a rodeo cowboy. But I know that when he and the director got the idea for this video, he right away said, "Let me call Cody Webster." So you must be friends, right?
Well, it's a pretty cool story. Like 2013 was my first national finals rodeo in Las Vegas, which was also the first time he went to Vegas to play at the South Point Hotel and Casino. So
Okay.
like he was doing like a 4 or 5 nights there, during the finals, and that's where a lot of people kind of get their start and going in the music world, as far as the country western side of things. And I just remember you know, just meeting him there in Vegas, and the next thing I know, we're hanging out backstage while he's having his concert, and then pretty soon we end up going to the bus and just hung out on the bus, and that's when he broke out all those really good songs that really kind of skyrocketed him. And man, we just hung out, become really good friends. So we're both in Vegas, we're both young, both cutting our teeth and getting started, and man, we've been friends ever since. And then every year after that, he was playing in Vegas, and I've been fortunate enough to get to go to the National Finals Rodeo for the last 12 years running, and so every year, he's playing out there. Now he's selling out big stadiums. during the finals too. So we've always kept a relationship, and he's a cowboy, I'm a cowboy, and it just fits, you know. And a lot of times he'll play at the Cheyenne Frontier Days for the concert, and I'm working the rodeo there. So again, we get to hang out, and man, it's just been a really cool deal. We're both sponsored by Wrangler jeans and Resist All hats. So we get to go to photo shoots, video shoots. We get to hang out. So he's just a cool dude. He's down to earth. He's real. And I think his music shows that. And I was so excited for the music video because the authenticity, what he brought to it with, you know, Dustin and the whole entire director, crew, filmers, everybody that come to be a part of this, you know, really let us take the reins to make this what it is. And man, it seems like it's blowing up and going bigger than anything I've seen. So to be right in the middle of it, man, it's a blessing.
Well, you're not in the middle of it. You're literally the star. Like it says starring Cody Webster, and
Yeah.
then at the end, you're the one looking right into the camera with your face paint on. So I know probably a lot like me, we love Cody Johnson. I love every song he's ever released and even the deep cuts on the album. But there had to be a point that he called you and said, Cody, we want you to star in this video for this new song. And can you tell me about
Well,
what that experience was like?
yeah, it's pretty funny. So I was sitting in Reno, Nevada, and you know, I blew my shoulder out the last week of May and had a lot of damage, broke bones, torn ligaments, and I had to kind of push through for the rest of the summer in order to get my rodeo count to be eligible for Las Vegas. And I remember, you know, I didn't get a lot of sleep through the summer because the pain was just so unreal. And I get a message. I'm sitting in the room, and it's like literally midnight. And he's like, "Hey, dude, are you up?" And I'm like, "Yeah, are you okay?" Instantly, my phone's blowing up. It's him, and we sat there and kind of talked. And he just kind of got this, you know, throwing ideas. I was like, "Man, I've got this music video. I've got this idea that this way I'm wanting to go with it. Like, you know, like, would you want to be a part of it? It would be an honor, you know." And one thing led to another. We just got to throwing ideas on over and over for probably fifth vision. And then I would be texting him in between, and then he was texting me in between. And next thing I know, we've got a pretty cool idea laid down. And, you know, and then, but the thing was, is we were wanting to kind of shoot it maybe more towards the end of the season. But I had shoulder surgery scheduled for August 6th. So I said, man, Cody, if we're going to do something, we've got to do this quick. And that's when Dustin and the crew showed up to Cheyenne Frontier Days. We got a lot of really cool footage and everything there. And then we came home from Cheyenne just about 4 or 5 days later, and we did another big video shoot with the bull riding and the live animals right here in Pauls Valley, Oklahoma. And then probably a little less than a month later, he did his shoot down in Texas. That was with all the rain and
Yeah.
everything. And then everything got tied together. And like I said, it's just unreal.
Tell me about how you feel about the song itself, like the lyrics about, you know, the ride is worth the fall and the fall is worth the pain and all that. Like, do you relate to it as just as a cowboy, as a bullfighter? Like, what do the lyrics mean for you?
The lyrics, I mean, it's touching, you know, and especially for what we do day in and day out. You know, you've got, you know, the ride or the fight is everything. You know, the being on the road, the chasing your dreams, achieving your goals, setting out for what you wanted to go for, and riding and fighting through the blood, the sweat, the tears, everything that comes with the sport. You know, that really hits home. You know, and coming from a guy that has rodeoed, a guy that has been beaten up and down and going down the road like Cody has, you know, it for music and bullfighting, rodeo in general, it's a lot of the same thing. You know, you're cutting your teeth and you're trying to make it to the top, you know, and it there's days that aren't fun. There's broke bones, there's torn ligaments, surgeries, everything that goes into our sport. But it's a lot of the same way for them guys. It's up beating the road, going and playing music. You know, you start out in the bars, you start out at the very lowest level, just trying to scrape and get by, and then man, when it hits, it's just like Cody. You know, he hit a it's like hitting a gasoline on a fire, and it just exploded, and man, it's just been so cool to see our careers just really take off and skyrocket with each other. And then I don't know. It's like the full circle. This music video and being tied in with Cody, it's the full circle.
I love that. That's so great to hear. And, you know, there's so many parts to a rodeo, and I know Cody wanted to ride the bulls. And you're not riding them, but you are in the arena with them. So it's almost like you have the same job as a cowboy or like a bull rider because the bull is just as mad at the rider as he is at you, right?
Yeah, I mean it's like anything. I mean, we're there to do a job. Our job is to protect the bull riders at all costs. And as you've seen in the video, that was real live, real action from real rodeos, and that's me stepping in and doing my job to take care of the guys at all costs. But I mean, it is. There's a lot of it. I don't know. I don't know how to really explain it other than you've got guys that run into burning buildings and you've got guys that run out. And when the wreck breaks out in the bull riding, we're running in to go save the bull rider, and it's a very thankless, very it's just a job that we do that we're there to do a job, but we're not there to get pat on the back. We're there to do our job and keep these guys safe, and that's what we do.
Is that why you think it's thankless? Because no one's really patting you on the back as much as they are the bull rider?
Yeah, I think it is. I think we're just that's it's kind of what it's become. That's our job, is to keep the guys safe, and I'm not saying that none of the bull riders appreciate us. They really do. They always do. But uh, it's kind of like the pickup men in the rodeo. They're some of the hardest working guys that their jobs doesn't really get noticed. So being on this music video, letting the whole world know what bullfighters do, and having it all tied in with the video really puts a spotlight on the bullfighters, I feel, and it's a good deal.
Yeah. So if you met like at NFR, if a 10-year-old boy came up to you or girl and said, I want to be you when I grow up. I want to be a bullfighter, what would you say?
And I would cheer them on. I want them. I want our industry to grow. I want our Western sports, our Western way of life to grow and continue growing. And that's been a big part of doing my bull schools that I do here at the ranch with the bullfighting, is bringing in young guys from all over the world. We've had people from Brazil to Canada to Mexico, Australia. We've had kids from everywhere, in every walk of life, that really, some of them aren't even cowboys. Some of them are just guys that seen it happen on the TV or on the YouTube, and wanted to come try it. And I'm all for that, because bullfighting and rodeo has gave me everything that I've got, absolutely, from the word go. A ranch, a beautiful life, a beautiful wife, the things I get to do, on a daily. So, man, if I can get a kid hooked on rodeo instead of drugs, then it's going to be a lot better world.
Oh my God. That is what a great sentiment about young people today. Do you have a max or minimum age that somebody has to be to go to the bullfighting school?
Yeah, we shoot for 18, just for, litigation and laws and stuff. But, uh, it just kind of depends. Like, if a kid's really passionate, and I can kind of become to know them, and have a relationship, then I'm not going to say we can put him in the school, but they can definitely come to the ranch and come through all the dummy work and all the drills, and everything that we do on the daily around here, and train. And then when it seems like the timing's right and they're ready, then there has been some younger guys come through that excelled.
Do you have any stories that you tell the students like, this is my worst experience with the bull, or this is like the most traumatic, like, do you share with them any of your kind of like nightmare stories from being in the rodeo?
I really don't. I try to just let them come in, and just lay down the fundamentals, let them learn the basics, learn the very fundamentals of our sport and what we need to combat the bulls. And then as time goes on, they get to learn what fear is. They get to learn how rough and how raw this sport really is. And when they start figuring that out, they'll start asking, what's this or what's that, or how do you handle this? How do you go about that? So, I mean, yeah, there is spots that we do talk a little bit about the realness of what we do. But man, when they come to the school, I'd rather them just be focused on the basics, and figuring it out for themselves.
Yeah, and it's so great that they have somebody like you who is probably a hero, but also there to teach them the fundamentals and, like you said, get them hooked on rodeo versus anything else.
Yes, yes, that's the common goal.
Yeah. Okay, last question. Besides this song, do you have any Cody Johnson favorites?
Oh, I mean, he's from top to bottom. Every song he's got is just we call him a dinger. You know, you're knocking it out of the park with everything he's got, from sad to slow to rodeo to the cowboy way of life. I mean, Cody's got everything covered. What I enjoy so much about him and his music is that he is a cowboy. It is authentic and it's real.
Totally agree. Couldn't agree more. I love everything about it. I've never been in a rodeo, but he makes me feel like I could have been,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, or
He's got that
anybody.
effect.
Yeah. Okay, well, that's all the questions that I had. Is there anything else you want to add about Cowboy Way of Life?
And I think we nailed it. I think you got some good stuff, and
Yeah, me too.
I'm ready to go find some lunch.
Great. Thank you so much for your time.
Hey, thank you, ma'am. You
Okay,
look amazing, by the way.
you're so nice.
Like that turquoise.
I tried. I tried.